Hey guys, welcome on back. Just wanted to do a quick video today to showcase, well, may not actually be a quick video, but video nonetheless today, showcasing the final scales and sizes of all the objects for the balance. So I went in and I have this Unreal guy. He's the scale model that I like to use for all my models. He's the scale model that I'll use for everything. So the reason why I use him is in Unreal, he is 6 feet tall. He is the prime height and width that you want for your doorways. You want your doorways to be more than 6 feet. You want them to be around that 7 feet margin. So you know if you go a little bit above his head, you'll clear his waist and all that type of stuff. He's just the main scale used for any and all video games made in the Unreal Engine. Unity has a different scaling system, and you would probably use a different character for that or your own method for it. But for the Unreal Engine, I like to just use this base model of the Unreal guy, and he works out perfectly to make sure that everything is to proper scale. Because I wanted to make sure that my grass just peaked a little bit up out of the base of his toes. That would be proper height of grass. You know, when you're walking around barefoot in your backyard, you'll see grass can sometimes either peek through your toes or above your feet, maybe get a little bit around your ankle, depending on how long it's been since you've mowed and things like that. So, this is the perfect scale because now I can scale it up or lower depending on what I need. As well, I did that with all the other things. I did that with rocks. So now we have things that are a little smaller around the shins, up to the hip, his scale, because we want some boulders. We want just some tiny rocks, some mid size, just made sure rocks were at the proper scale. And corrected trees. These trees were giant redwood forest trees, and they still are big trees, but now they're more at a proper scale to the Unreal guy. I want them to still be big trees, but not as big as they were originally. This now is more to a proper lifelike scale. And that's all we're doing here is we're making sure that each of these are to a realistic scale for the video game. That's all it was. It was real quick and simple, but there was a little sneak peek of it. I have started to work on textures. I went with an easy one and I created a rock texture in Substance Designer. I like using Substance to create my textures and implement them, and just I feel it's a superior texturing system. I still use Krita for some hand drawn textures that are just not doable in a program like Substance. That's how I made my leaves in my branch. Is I made them in Krita, and then I'll create the alpha maps, the metallic maps, the normal maps, height maps, AO maps on there as well. But for creating things for the trunks, the grass, the rocks, even things for my character when we get to making her. We'll create it here in Substance Designer and maybe texture her in Painter, whereas these are being created in Designer and then exported into Unreal. The other reason why I like Substance Designer is when I export this into Unreal, if I make this texture correctly, I'll only need one rock master texture, and then I can instance that master texture however many times I want using Substance Designer parameters. So we'll get into explaining that. For example, I could take the HSL here that I have, which is hue, saturation, and lightness, and I can expose these all as parameters, making it possible so that when we're in Unreal, I can adjust the colors of the moss that I have on my rock. So I can sit there and go to whatever color I want. And in Unreal, that'll be adjusting the master texture. and then I can create an instance of the master texture and have an instance of a rock with green moss or an instance with a rock with blue moss, whatever color moss I want. I'd even be able to adjust the lightness of my rocks. I could have literally different shades of rocks at the tips of my fingers. And that's why I really like using Substance Designer for that, is I can adjust so many things by exposing one simple little thing to create multiple versions of my map. Like down here, I can adjust the balance of all this, making my moss be more overgrown or less overgrown, anything like that. It's amazing. That's why I like Substance Designer, is just for that sheer ability to just make whatever I want right here at the tip of my fingers. So let's get this back to a manageable number. So yeah, so we have this beautiful texture that I created. Substance Designer is a way to create any texture you want just by working with these little texture maps like this one. So it's just by taking this dirt texture or this dirt gradient black and white thing that I have, adjusting its levels, overlaying it with another grunge map, and blending those two together, and I get this nice way to overlay moss as well. That then goes into becoming a blend with this grunge map that becomes the underlaying map for the rocks, which then becomes the normals. And then I just take those and I paint them on in with uniform colors, HSL, so that I can adjust the hue, the saturation, the lightness whenever I want. And I blend them all in and I get my base colors. And then these are black and white, so they already work for my roughness maps, my ambience, my heights. I could adjust them here and there, but that's why I took advantage of this node, which helps me to add that weathering to the rock without really needing to do too much. It just does it for me. And literally, this thing is just amazing at doing what I need it to do. And that's why I highly suggest, if anybody wants to create textures, learn Substance Designer and Substance Painter. You'll have so much fun creating textures. Designer's gonna be a little bit overwhelming, but it's gonna be super fun and it's gonna make textures super easy for you. And these textures can get very large and very complex. Luckily, in the game engine, none of that affects the game engine. It only happens here, and in the game it just sees colors and paints and weights and stuff like that. It doesn't care too much after that, and it's just an amazing program. I don't want to go over too much of the details or go into like a tutorial about this. I might do that later on. I just wanted to keep you guys aware, show you guys my progress as always, since these are more of progress videos showing you guys, hey, here's where we are in creating the game. Here's what we have made. We're such and such a steps away from being at these locations. Because right now, I'm like way before at the alpha stage of a game creation, and there is no stage as to where I'm at. I'm trying to get to alpha by creating a working tutorial that can be demoed and released and used to show people what this game is going to be, as well as creating an advertisement, a video trailer inside of Unreal to show you guys what the storyline's like. And just, I'm trying to get to that stage. So first off, I have to create the demo level, because that's going to be used in the trailer and that's going to help create the game pretty much. So no, I probably went a little fast in this video, went over quite a lot. If you guys have any questions or would like to talk to me about anything, feel free to comment down below, like and subscribe, so I know people are out there and they're wanting to see this game. I want to know how many people are excited to know more about the balance. So feel free to watch all my videos. If you're new to the channel, I have the pitch video up there. It's probably the first thing that you see when you enter the channel. So give that a watch, and it goes over what this game's about and what we're going to make. With that said, thank you guys for watching. Hope to see more of you, more content coming your way too. All right, see you guys.